I don't think it was expected by people that GLM would become the top model, the top open source model today.
Cerebras recently launched GLM 4.7 at over 1,500 tokens per second. And today we have Anastasios from Alamarina joining us to help us understand this new model.
Happy to be here.
So ZAI recently released GLM 4.7, and we've already seen strong engagement from Alamarina with over 8,000 votes from developers. So from the Arena data, what stands out most about how people are reacting to this model?
Well, first of all, GLM is an amazing model. GLM is the frontier open source model today. It is number 18 on our overall leaderboard. That's number 20 or 21 among experts. And it is a model on par with the best closed source frontier models. The big wins from GLM seem to be in more technical categories. For that reason, we see a lot of developer adoption from serious researchers, mathematicians, and industry professionals.
So based on what you've seen from Alamarina data, what closed source models would you say that GLM 4.7 is on par with?
Well, it's on par with the best closed source models. Those include Gemini Pro and Flash, Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.5. GLM is, maybe not quite at the performance level of, but very close to.
How does GLM 4.7's popularity and engagement compare to some of the other open source model releases recently?
A lot of the open source world still remains focused on the Qwen models. Qwen, by virtue of, I think, a long-standing brand in that space, still has a lot of adoption, but GLM made huge waves. I don't think it was expected by people that GLM would become the top model, the top open source model today. Maybe it should have been, maybe it was underestimated, undervalued. And I think it remains so. It's kind of an underrated model. But as the performance continues to improve and the team continues to ship newer and newer models, I expect that adoption to continue to go up.
How have you seen people use GLM 4.7 in terms of, curious developers, hackers, or maybe more serious production use cases?
Where we see GLM really at the frontier, almost indistinguishable from top models, is in these technical categories. Math and coding. It is within a 30-point difference in terms of Arena score to Gemini Pro, which tends to be the top model in those categories. That, to just give you a sense of calibration, is also the sort of similar scale of differences between two frontier models from closed source, such as Gemini Pro and Claude Opus 4.5. What that means is that for those categories, you might as well use the open source model as opposed to the closed source model in a lot of use cases. The main strengths, just to summarize, are in things like multi-turn, math, coding, instruction following, those areas. If you look at creative writing, it's like a 100-point difference, which is much larger. So in general, we see the bias being towards more technical categories, things like multi-turn, coding, instruction following, and so on, because their developers are looking for the best answer, the cheapest, and also the fastest, which is also why the choice of inference provider, of course, Cerebras being a leading player, is so important.
So Alamarina gets its data from real-world use cases, human preferences, human voting. You just described kind of how you've seen GLM 4.7 perform in all of these different categories compared to other models. How is this different from what you're seeing in more traditional benchmarks for GLM 4.7?
I'd say the main difference is granularity. We're able to zoom in very, very closely into these real-world categories. The real usage among, doctors or people seeking medical help, lawyers, and so on. And it's in those categories where GLM seems to have not quite an advantage, but a very small gap with the frontier.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Anastasios. And if you are interested in trying out GLM 4.7, you can get started for free at either Cerebras or Alamarina.
Thank you so much for having me.